Today we're going to talk about self-publishing, and I'm going to show you how to make a zine that looks like this. What you need to know is that self-publishing has been around for hundreds of years. The earliest self-published things were religious articles or sometimes political things. And in the middle of the 20th century, when people had access to photocopiers and mimeographs, which was like an old-fashioned way of reprinting things cheaply and quickly, zines really exploded. So early zines look like this one. This is not an old zine, but this is a political zine that's about the 23rd Police Precinct, who did a lot of bad things over the course of the 20th century. And this is just a lot of newspaper articles that the creators of this zine put together. Other zines were fanzines, and these would be zines that would be maybe about a musical group, or they would be about a TV show or a movie or a fashion style that people really liked. And then a lot of zines actually were used to publish poetry. Some people would call this a chapbook, but it's very similar to a zine for our purposes today. So the first thing that you need to do is figure out what the subject of your zine is going to be. It could be a short story, it could be poems, it could be a zine about a favorite TV show that you really love. There aren't tons of zines about sports teams, but I think that's a really interesting subject for a zine. I always really like a zine that's structured as a how-to. So think about things that you know how to do. Recipes might be how to build something. I don't think that there's a zine about how to make a face mask yet to fight off coronavirus, but that would be a very interesting zine to create. The next thing you need to do is look around your house and find the materials that you have. Zines have historically been created by people with very little access to expensive printing equipment and things like that. So it's fun to kind of create a zine based on just what you have around. So I looked around my house. I found some paper that had something on one side, but I have one blank side, which is usable. I also had a blank note card, and I had a rubber band. So a lot of the zines that I have are just pieces of paper that are folded, and then they have a staple on the side. Some people, to elevate that a little bit, will actually sew the side. And this is a very easy stitch. The thread goes in one hole, comes out the other, and then it's tied. If you're someone who likes to sew, this can be a great way to bind a zine. Another very easy way of binding a zine is to literally just take your cover, whatever that is, maybe it's paper, maybe it's a card, put your guts inside, and then take a rubber band, a hair band could also work, and you can just bind it on the side like so, and this keeps everything together. Another way, and this is what I'm going to talk about mostly today, is actually you can do a one-page zine with no binding. So the first thing you need to do for your one-page zine is to find a piece of paper. I'm recycling a piece of paper that has some other things on the other side. A regular 8.5 by 11 piece of paper will work great. If you have a bigger piece of paper, you can use a bigger piece of paper also. The first thing that you need to do is fold it in half hot dog style. From there, fold it in half this way. Finally, you'll fold it in half again. One thing that you should keep in mind is to keep your creases very sharp. Once you have that, you can actually open up your paper, and then you are going to fold it in half this way on the seam. The only specialized equipment you'll need today is a pair of scissors, and you will actually be cutting that seam halfway down to the other fold, like so. At this point, you'll have a piece of paper that looks something like this. If you open it up, there's a hole in the middle that doesn't go all the way through. If you take that and you kind of maneuver it into a star formation, you can close it up so that it looks like a book. And from the side, this will look like this. This will be 8 pages long, including the front and back covers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And now that you have a topic and you have a format for your zine, I would grab a pen. I like to draw in Sharpie a lot and start designing it. So my zine is How to Run, and it's by S. Fetters. I illustrated it, and I give some advice about how to run during the coronavirus. If you are someone who is not comfortable drawing, you can cut out magazines and glue things in. There are also lots of zines that are only words. The last thing that I want to say is there are really no limits to the topic that you choose to make a zine about, and you can be very creative with materials. You don't have to use paper even. I have seen zines made out of fabric. I have seen zines made out of cloth. I've even seen zines made out of cardboard. If you choose to not do the one-page version of the zine and you choose to do something that looks more like this or like this, that's totally fine. But remember that if you're using a big page, you need to find a way to fill that big page, either with text or images. Good luck!